There once was a ghoul who was born different, not just different, but horribly, hideously different. His name was Grug, and despite being half ghoul, half human, he looked entirely ghoulish. His skin was green, his eyes protruded, his canines were comically long, and his nose was shaped like a knoll. Now, Grug wasn't your typical ghoul. He didn't relish in scaring people, eating their flesh, or forcing them into ghoulish servitude. He was an empath, a big softy who felt deeply for others and wanted nothing more than to be accepted by them. But alas, his appearance made that impossible. He tried everything to become more appealing, but nothing worked. He scrubbed his green skin with special ghoul soap, but it only made him smell like roses and lavender instead of, the classic ghoul musk. He tried wearing makeup, but it always ended up looking like war paint. And even after getting a nose job from a goblin surgeon, he just ended up looking like Pinocchio. But there was one thing Grug had heard rumors about: a legendary beauty cure-all, a magical elixir that could make even the ugliest creature in the multiverse irresistible. The problem was, no one knew the recipe. One day, however, while scouring the internet for beauty tips, Grug stumbled upon a message board where an anonymous user claimed to have the recipe. The catch, she would only share it with someone who could answer a riddle. Grug tracked down the poster, a beautiful elf sorceress named Willow, and asked her the riddle. What is always coming but never arrives? What is always present but never here? What is always ours but never us? After a dramatic pause, Willow spoke. Your riddle is clever, but I have changed my mind. You are not worthy. And with a flick of her wrist, she disappeared in a puff of smoke. This happened with every single person who tried to find the beauty ball. That was until Grug got a message from an unexpected source, the leader of the local coven of witches, Morwen. She offered to help him, but her assistance came at a price. The witches prepared a potion, but instead of making him irresistible, it turned his skin an alarming shade of purple. They tried again, but this time his eyes turned orange. Finally, they got it right, and his skin turned a gorgeous alabaster white. His hair shone gold, his eyes sparkled blue, and his lips were perfectly red. But as soon as the potion wore off, Grug reverted back to his ghastly self. Morwen explained that the reason the beauty cure-all didn't work was because he wasn't embracing his true self. You are trying so hard to be something you're not, she said, that you have forgotten what makes you you. After a long, hard look in the mirror, Grug realized that she was right. Sure, he wanted to be attractive, but in trying to change everything about himself, he had lost sight of what made him special. He went back to see Willow, who was shocked to see how handsome Grug was. He told her about the potion and how it only lasted a few hours. If you really want the beauty cure-all, she said, you will have to make it yourself. But it won't be easy. You will need the heart of a fire elemental, the tears of a siren, the scales of a dragon, the fur of a werewolf, and the feather of a griffin. Grug set off on his quest, but soon realized that collecting those ingredients would be almost impossible. Fire elementals were incredibly rare. Sirens hated leaving their oceans. Dragons, well, they just liked hoarding things. Werewolves were nocturnal and very shy, and griffins were notoriously difficult to get close to. But Grug was determined. He braved molten lava to retrieve the fire elemental's heart. He dove into the deepest part of the ocean to collect the siren's tears. He snuck into a dragon's lair and stole a scale from its tail. He tracked down a werewolf and offered to help raise its pups in exchange for some fur. And he befriended a griffin by saving its life and eventually earned its trust enough to get its feather. When he returned to Willow, she was amazed. "You actually did it," she said, "but now you must combine the ingredients under the light of a full moon. If you fail, the potion will be ruined and the ingredients will lose their power." Grug collected all the necessary vials and placed them in front of him. One by one, he poured each ingredient into a massive cauldron. Just as he was about to stir the concoction, a shadowy figure loomed over him. "So you would betray me?" said the figure, his voice dripping with venom. It was Matt. "I helped you become the monster you are today, and this is how you repay me." "I'm sorry, Morwen," said Grug, "but I have to do this for me." As Grug stirred the potion, it began to glow. Suddenly, Morwen raised her hands and unleashed a bolt of dark magic. The potion splashed out of the cauldron and transformed into a thick black cloud. The cloud took shape and enveloped Morwen, draining her of her power. Willow gasped. "It worked," she whispered, and indeed it had. The beauty cure-all was complete.